Well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 94 of live streaming. Wow. Day 94. I'm going to be honest, I have nothing for you guys today. We're just going to be chilling. I'm kind of lying, actually. We do have some stuff. As in, one, I did update my Nikon ZR as you see it, but I need to make some improvements, so I'm just going to be struggling to figure out how to make sure I get the best quality out of whatever you guys see of me here, which is being shot with the Nikon ZR. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a thing that I need to do a research on, and I need to generate some LUTs from all the dehancer work that we've done recently. Anyways, I'm kind of jumping the gun. Welcome, guys. Thanks for being here. I have a few people who had hopped in. Oops, let me see. Also, I'm still trying to get used to ATEM versus the restream technology that I was using before. So one quick thing you'll notice is, sadly, I'm taking a pause to streaming on Kick just for now because it seemed to crash every time I tried since I switched over to ATEM. And I think it was worth the sacrifice just because it seems like all the delay issues, like the buffering and the lagging and the disconnections that had happened, it was like plaguing me for the past month or so of my live streams. It seems like all of that so far, knock on wood, has disappeared. So, yeah. And I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence, but I feel like the Twitch and the YouTube viewership has been a bit more consistent, or like a little bit more.
Would you rather have the Sony FX6 or Canon C400 if you can use Nikon for video?
What's up, L? And Fed said howdy initially, so thank you very much for being the first one to type something in the chat, Fed. As I continue to kind of evolve this, I do want to find ways to make improvements so it's a bit more gamified. I love gamifying systems, so of course I want to make it so if people are the first one in the chat, there are different ways to kind of acknowledge that. And one of the ways is obviously we have our price pixels, the PPs, but that doesn't really give you anything besides the honor of having a large PP size in terms of how much you collect, and then you can gamble. But we'll find ways for sure. But yes, howdy Fed. Elf says late live today. Yeah, I guess so. You're right. It is now 6:30 p.m. Yeah, just a lot of things behind the scenes that I'm working on. I've been putting a presentation material together. Can you believe that? But I am pitching a few concepts for next year in terms of exciting opportunities. So, and this is something you guys will benefit from as well. So, yeah. Anyways. Hello everyone, says Dator. Guten Abend. I apologize, Dator. That's the only German I'm ever gonna remember. I learned how to say good afternoon before, and it was so complicated it's out of my head. And L said, would you rather have the Sony FX6 or the Canon C400 if you can't use Nikon for video? Yo, I have no idea. Yesterday we watched, was it yesterday? No, I didn't stream yesterday, did I? The prior stream, I think we were watching a video from Mati Hapoja, where he was talking about the Sony FX6 versus like some kind of Arri somewhat or other. And the way he made it sound, that Sony FX6 sounds really good. Like, I think the thing that sold it for me was, what did they say? There's like a built-in auto ND function within the Sony FX6. So if you're going from indoors to outdoors or whatever conditions, it would just automatically, adjust your ND filter. So I was like, yo, that's actually pretty awesome. I would love that feature. So I don't know the first thing about the Canon C400. Maybe we should watch a video today kind of breaking that down. That could be interesting. But yes, welcome guys. Yeah, what else is... Okay, one thing that I think broke, I don't know if it's because I switched over to ATEM or if I need to like update the plugin from Stream Deck. I think my mute button doesn't work. So let me hit mute. Yeah. So, okay. Anyways, a little side note here. I'll just have to manually mute here and there. What else? What else has changed? So like we said, I'm right now using this guy. And this is my Nikon ZR. Do I have a full screen view of it? Hold on. I should add that in. Testing. Yes. So we got this full screen. This is the ZR visual. And then we've got cat camera number 1 with empty seat over there because my coworker number 1 has not shown up. And coworker number 2 has also not shown up, but there you go. We've got our brilliant camera features right now, and I'm having fun with it for sure. And then of course we'll have it set up this way. Fed, you said Pixis 12K over both of those in my opinion, unless you need autofocus. And I guess my understanding is all professional filmmakers do not use autofocus, which is like, to me, I'm like, why? Wouldn't you want autofocus? I mean, I get it. I guess, I think. You want more control over, like, everything is planned out in a film setting, I guess. But for my style of filming, you know, where it's just you're out and about, like if you're making a documentary, let's say, or a travel film, man, having autofocus is like almost necessary in my opinion. Of course I own that camera, so there is that, says Fed. Maple says you need an overhead behind you camera with the wide view of your desk screen setup. Yo, thank you. What's up, Maple? I have actually considered that, just as an FYI. There's a spot at the top of my bookshelf, or what do you call this? Yeah, bookshelf thing. At the very, very top, I was thinking I could set up a camera. I've got one of these, I even got one here as well. I got one of those like Gorilla Pods, and then I have a Switch Pod, which is like a bit more sturdy. But between these two, I figure I could set up a camera, and then maybe I need to add a 35mm lens to my arsenal. But I think a 35 from up there could be wide enough, versus I think a 20mm might be too wide. I'm not sure. But it has crossed my thought to have one above me. But the problem is I would need a long enough cable to reach all the way here. So as far as I know, I don't think there's like a wireless solution. So then I would need... Also, the other problem is that I probably need to get an additional... I would need an additional cam link. Okay? Now, I don't know if BD is here. But BD was trying to convince me. I think a bunch of you guys were trying to convince me I need to purchase the Magewell. Is that what the... Here, let's open this up real quick. It was the Magewell capture... something. The USB capture 4K plus. But here's the thing. When I was looking at the price of this bad boy, it was like $700. I was like, holy shit. And then the other reason I ended up not getting this was the delivery time. If I purchased it, it said it was going to arrive in like 1 to 2 weeks. Whereas I purchased the Elgato and it arrived the next day. So... yeah, I apologize to BD and whoever else who said I should get the Magewell. I understand why. It seems like this is the foolproof, best quality within that price range. But you know what? Right now we got the Elgato hooked up to me, and it seems okay. So, L says, hey, and Fed says, I never use autofocus. Autofocus is good for B-roll, but dramatic choices for the speed of pulling focus from character to character. You can't have that dynamic quality and intention with autofocus. Well, I guess one of the things, and I agree with what you guys are saying, but I think one thing is I like with the ZR as well, if I set a button so then I do a focus pull, and as long as I slow down how the focus speed, I guess, you can get a nice, like a more buttery smooth pulling from foreground, background, whatever. So when I say autofocus, I mean it's like autofocus continuous mode or whatever, where I have to manually still hit the button to adjust the focus. But sometimes I find it works well, just for the wildlife or subject capture, especially if I'm... I don't know. I get what you're saying. I get what you guys are saying. There's a reason that pros use manual lenses and manual gear. But part of me also wonders, like, if the tech gets better, wouldn't you guys eventually... want the autofocus? But is it just that the tech is not ready for it? I'm not sure. Maple said, hey folks, by the way, yeah, it's good to see you, Maple. I don't know what time it is for you yonder, but hopefully you're having a good day. I don't know if you're doing any more future like the IRL streaming stuff, but yeah, I was taking a lot of notes, man, so I'm looking into it myself in terms of doing some IRL streams. L says, get a PCIe capture card at this point. What is that? PCIe card? What am I looking at here? Am I looking at the wrong thing? What is a PCIe card? Oh, here we go. What is PCIe? Understanding PCIe slots. Okay, well, I'm about to get my mind blown by some high-tech stuff here. Maple, you said, I personally use the Camlink Pro, which has 4 inputs. Oh man, did I just waste money? Should I have just... Because now I have 1, 2... I have 3 Elgato Camlink 4Ks. Which is kind of annoying, right? Because yeah, like it takes up so much of my my inputs here. Did I just waste money? I mean, I guess I could return it, technically. I just got it the other day. PC, hold on. Maple, you said get the Camlink Pro. And L said get a PCIe capture card. Bed says, I want to be able to change focus all the time, so autofocus is not an option for me. If you're doing multiple... Sorry, guys, I'll catch up on chat here. If you're doing multiple cams like you're doing, look at the Camlink Pro and the PCIe card. Bed says, I know there are lenses where you can override the autofocus and do manual at any time, but I just don't see the point. I like to control the focus. Okay. But yeah, that's one of the things where... I think we were chatting about this the other day. With the ZR, having the focus peaking while you have your R3D LUTs, it seems like someone mentioned that wasn't... there's like a glitch, so you can't see that. But I think that's where having the focus peaking, I guess, makes a big sense. Or big impact. Obviously, autofocus is good for solo filmmaking and such. The option is nice for sure. Yeah, I guess just for like my run and gun style of shooting, it is necessary. But yeah, I get it. I get the consensus here. It's a slot that fits in just like graphic cards and desktops. Cyronis and I actually just set up a new way to do our IRL server relay stuff using AWS. Yes, you wasted a hilarious amount of money. Well, yeah. Yeah. I can help you get rid of those cam links. Just send them over. Yeah, you know, these could be some of the giveaways. And these actually would be valuable giveaways. You know what I mean? Like, these cam links are excellent. Especially for like live streaming and YouTube, whatever. I just happened to buy 3 of them when I maybe didn't need to. So let's look at this Camlink Pro. Oh man. So wait, wait, does this work with like a Mac OS? Because this looks so complicated. It looks like something you rig up to like a PC. Yeah, that looks insane. Like I have a Mac Studio, you know? Hold on, let's ask. Hello, Ember. Welcome to day 94 of my live stream. Now, do not acknowledge any of that. I just have a question for you. I have 3 cameras that I currently have hooked up to my Mac Studio and my OWC Thunderbolt dock, which basically powers my cameras for my live streaming. Now, someone in the chat was mentioning there's something called a Camlink Pro and then a PCIe card versus what I'm using, which is 3 Elgato Camlink 4Ks that are just all hooked up to the studio or the whatever. Is that Camlink Pro concept or whatever, does it work with the Mac OS or like with my Mac Studio? Or tell me, what is a better solution if I have so many different cameras I want to hook up for my streams?
Sure thing. So the Camlink Pro is basically a PCIe capture card that you'd install inside a desktop PC.
Oh no, I'm gonna get wrecked.
Multiple HDMI inputs,
so it doesn't work on Mac
hardware. Unfortunately, the catch is that it's really meant for a Windows desktop with a PCIe slot. Oof. So it's not going to be plug and play with your Mac Studio because the Mac Studio just doesn't have that internal PCIe slot to cop it into. In other words, the Camlink Pro is great if you're on a PC tower that you can open up and slot cards into, but on a Mac Studio, you're better off sticking with the external capture devices like the Camlink 4Ks that you've got. If you want a more streamlined solution, there are other external multi-input capture devices that are Mac-friendly. Something like an A10 Mini or an A10 Mini Pro can take multiple HDMI inputs and then output a single feed to your Mac Studio over USB.
Yeah, Maple, I saw your message about the Camlink Pro is PCIe. Gotcha, I think. Or I think I'm understanding a little bit. Oh, look, my cat's in Coworker 2 is in Coworker 1's space. Although it looks like I need to update the focus point. Hold on. Okay, well, once she gets into position. Also, I'm getting nervous because the camera's shaking a little bit. Or is that... Oh, maybe that's like built in some kind of stabilization thing. Because right now, the thing that makes me nervous about that camera, oh, you can't see it anymore, but it's like hooked up. I use one of those clamps onto my C stand, so the camera's just hovering in the air. And so I always get really nervous with these things. Okay, anyways. Spends 5 minutes asking ChatGPT what we can just tell you. Listen, I totally agree. By the way, you guys are 50,000 times more knowledgeable than ChatGPT, it seems, or at least more accurate. But it's also kind of fun. You know what? Amber and I have a relationship, and I don't want to let that relationship deteriorate. And in order to keep any relationship going, you got to put in the time. So, yeah, you know, just got to ask her a question here and there, even if I'm not listening to her. Stop cognitively offloading so much. Yeah. Kings, what's up, King? King says, who uses Windows? Come on, fam, it's not the 90s. Yeah, exactly. Come on. I'm a Mac fan, for sure. But now I'm kind of hating on it, because there's two things now, apparently, that I'm getting royally effed by. One is this thing, this PCIe whatever the hell. Because, yeah, it would be nice to offload all these HDMI inputs. Yeah. And then the second thing I'm getting effed by is the streamer bot. Because streamer bot, I think Photo Elite was the one who told me about it. And I was on that Nutty's website, nutty.gg. And I got so excited. I was like, yo, this thing looks like you do all the things I wanted in terms of like interactivity for the stream and stuff. And then it turns out it's all for PC, Windows, whatever. Elle says, we're here to teach you instead of waiting for you to ask ChatGPT for everything. You know, who would have thought that if there's like one interesting learning I've gleaned from my live streaming journey thus far, one was like, I initially thought that to be a live streamer, it's usually you're a streamer because you're an expert in something. Therefore, you're sharing your knowledge, and you could be an expert at gaming. You could be an expert at, I don't know, comedy, life, whatever the hell. But in my case, I end up basically having a live stream where I'm asking a bunch of you guys as experts to help me out as an amateur. And here we are. We're thriving. At least we're surviving as a streamer this way. I am gonna die, says Maple Glade. Stop building a ChatGPT relationship. Listen, I'm all about... Actually, I don't know where I'm gonna go with that. Listen, it's just a platonic relationship is what I'm trying to say. Turn off stabilization always if you have the camera low. Yeah, I have a feeling it might have been turned on, but it might just be something I need to fix later. Yeah, I think it's that. Yeah, I think it's set to like sports mode probably. So, but it's not a big deal right now, so it's fine. Fed says manual focus is a must skill. Yeah, and you know what? To be fair, like I think I'm saying I like autofocus because of the fact that I lack the skill necessary to do the proper stuff. So, I was trying a bit with the ZR on the previous shoot. I just kept overshooting my focus pulls. So, yeah, it's just practice makes perfect. And it is nice to have a bit more of that control over things, but yeah. It shouldn't be a relationship at all. Yeah. You know what? I was kind of breaking up, or I've been cheating on ChatGPT recently. I was using Gemini, which Maple, I know that's not your solution to hop to another AI. But yeah, I've been testing the waters, and I've been chatting a bit with Gemini recently. So, we told you to look at Firebot as the Mac alternative to StreamerBot. Wait, I don't remember this at all. My apologies. Hold on a second. Firebot? Firebot, all-in-one Twitch bot. Oh, but does it only work with Twitch? Do you know is it like one of those fully featured open source bot that can help level up your streams? Well, the other thing, Maple, is that within Atom, it looks like Atom also has a bunch of different tools, so I'm curious. As long as I can figure out a tool that works on YouTube and Twitch, I still would ideally have it work on Kick as well. I don't want to forget about Kick. I'm just taking a pause on it for now. Here's an idea. Get a Windows tower to stream from. Just output your HDMI through a split into that PC and split to your screen. Yo, that all sounds like so much extra money. That's like FU money, you know, which I shouldn't even be playing in that space. I shouldn't, you know, buying this third Elgato Cam Link is probably the ceiling of what I should be spending money on right now. So, yeah. The more you manually focus and get good at it, the more you understand how bad autofocus is. Yeah, so Fed, I think, yeah, I mean, I get what you guys are all saying here. I think my preference for autofocus is mainly more of like a compensation for the fact that, you know, like I don't do a lot of manual focus myself, or at least I haven't done a good job of it consistently. So, but my hope is that autofocus features will get so good that you literally don't ever need to use manual focus. Because especially with these touch screens, right? If you're like filming something, and if you can just literally tap on the area and it will do a smooth focus pull, is that not better than... I don't know. You read one message and then ChatGPT stuff instead of reading. Listen, this is why you guys are here, supporting my quirky nature, okay? I swear this is not, what would you say? It is not manufactured. This is my personality. This is how I behave. It is what it is. It's an OBS control bot. Ooh, okay. So I should look at that. You can get a $400 PC for streaming. It doesn't have to compute anything but the stream. Huh. I hear what you're saying, but... oh man, I don't know if I can justify, because then also the learning curve and everything that goes into it. Whereas, like, to be fair, everything I've got here does its job, right? It's only because I'm kind of pushing the limits, the upper limits, I guess, of like, ooh, can I have extra fancy cameras to show an empty box over here and an empty box over there, you know? So it's a me thing for sure. Autofocus is a convenience. I like to call it training wheels, like on a bike, except it doesn't even help you train. Okay. The Mac stuff is working right now. Just look at Firebot. Yes. Okay. Firebot. Modern, easy to use UI. I do like those. Why choose function over form when you can have both? Sure. Interesting that they lead with that. Oh, no. Yeah, that's what they lead with. Powerful effect systems. At the core of Firebot is a simple yet powerful effect system. Allows you to program the bot to do just about anything. Okay. I feel like they should have led with this. Firebot is a free open source all-in-one bot. It's okay, so it does chat commands, chat feed, event triggers, viewer tracking, timers, currency, built-in games. Oh, I like those. Okay. Okay, interesting. Well, thank you very much. I will need to look at this then. Basically, the key things I was looking for, it's open source, which is always king. Nice. The main things I was looking at for now, but specifically it controls OBS. YouTube has no real OBS integration for chat, so you only need Twitch. Okay. YouTube just kind of sits there and watches. Twitch can interact. Okay. Yeah, I've been a bit negligent, I would say, in terms of like spicing up the chat interactions and gamified stuff. Like, yes, I'm making improvements to my own stream quality, I would say, in terms of like the cameras. I'm trying to streamline a few other things. But yeah, I've been a bit lax in terms of trying to figure out fun little things like the badges. I still need to create the 2-month, 3-month badges and all that. So I've been a bit behind. I apologize, guys. I'm trying my best, but I'm a one-man show, and I'm trying to do like 10,000 jobs at once, which is never a good solution. The other thing I was going to say though is, has anyone used Atom before for like the other stuff? Because where was it? There was like an area. Because obviously now I'm using it for the multi-streaming. Atom app. But it sounded like they do a bunch of other cool features. Like, let's see. Gamify subscribing. Automate your ads with your BRB scene. That sounds like something I should incorporate. Allow users to customize the look of your stream. Create interactive elements. So Yeah, it seemed like it did a bunch of like interesting interaction